Our opening words this morning are from L.M. Montgomery's Anne of Green Gables. Why must people kneel down to pray? If I really wanted to pray, I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd go out into a great big field all alone or in the deep, deep woods, and I'd look up to the sky, up, 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 into that lovely blue sky that looks as if there's no end to its blueness. And then I'd just feel the prayer. I made a little video of one of my favorites, Prelude, this morning, and the words are up there if you want to sing. I didn't realize that one of the lyrics in there, even though I always sang it incorrectly. I sang Keep Me Free from Hurt because that's what I thought George was saying. But he's singing Keep Me Free from Birth. And what you need to remember or know is that George was very into Indian philosophies, East Indian philosophies. So when you see that line, keep me free from birth, he's talking about being able to reach a higher plane, if you will, and not be reborn into a suffering world. So our prelude, sing if you'd like. I would say that George Harrison is one of the ancestors that I call upon often. And I'm really grateful for that song, which to me has always been a prayer. So, good morning, welcome to Minnesota Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name's Laura, I'm the minister here. I'm a short, round person today. I'm wearing a top that has blue and green and tan and white and black, kind of in a, I don't know what pattern that is, some cross between zebra and tiger on techno colors, and this smart blue linen blazer, dragonfly earrings today. My pronouns are she, her. Also helping with today's service, Richard Duffin is back on tech this morning, and Tom is helping with some of the reflection parts. We're going to engage you all a little bit later, and Karen's also helping with some music today, Karen Olson. We come together on the sacred lands of the Dakota people and endeavor ourselves to be worthy co-stewards alongside them. We are centered on the grounding value of love, wholly aware of our interconnectedness to all. A special welcome to anybody joining us for the first time today. There are some green visitor packets downstairs. You can take that. That'll give you a little bit more information about us. We also invite you to fill out our visitor form. If you put your email on there, then you'll get our Friday emails and our newsletters, and that will keep you abreast of everything that's going on. If you're visiting today and you're watching online, you can find a link to that visitor form in the comment or chat. Whatever has brought you here in the shared space that we create together, we hope that you'll find compassion and comfort and companionship, or whatever it is that you're seeking today. A couple of announcements before we continue. We are doing a school supply drive on the table back there. That's only going through the end of the month. That's for Veep, so they can get school supplies to kids. You can, of course, drop your stuff off at Veep, but if you're coming here anyway, you can drop it off here and we'll get it there for them. I also wanted to mention some housekeeping things. If you're here for a meeting or coming into the fellowship for something, and like you're the only one here, or there's just a couple of you here, please make sure when you leave that both doors are locked and that all of the lights are shut off. We've had some lights left on recently, and one of the doors was unlocked the other day. So just double check those things if you're the last one of your group to leave. Do we have any other? Oh, I know what else I was going to say. Next Sunday is one of our parking lot conversation type of services. For those of you who haven't been to those before, it's really cash. It's just sitting in circles outside and kind of getting to know each other and talking about what's important to you. So what I could use today, if you're staying for social hour, is for everybody to grab some of the folding chairs. We can pull them out of the closet there and bring them upstairs so that they're much easier for folks coming early next week to set out. That would be great. So if you're around, if you could help with that, that'd be perfect. Does it, anybody, yeah, Barb?
I'm assuming if it's raining, we'll do it.
If it's raining, I'm not sure if you'll just go in the social. It depends on how many people are here, that you would come in here or go in the social hall. So yeah, but there'll be something here no matter what. Y'all will figure it out. I'll be in California. You all have a good time.
It never rains in Sunnyvale.
It never rains in California, it's so nice. And it's actually going to be 70 there next week when I'm there, so yeah. Anybody else have any announcements? Anything else going on that I'm forgetting? I will say August is just around the corner. If you're on a committee or some kind of work group or anything, make sure that you're checking your emails, because I know that meetings are starting in August, so you might have been tuned out for the summer, but time to tune back in pretty soon. Oh, I know. Speaking of volunteering and doing work, I'm going to just pass around our Sunday hospitality sheets for greeters and ushers and folks bringing treats this summer. If you're interested in doing that, please sign up. In the meantime, let's continue with our chalice lighting. The words this morning come from Scott Taylor. Who, by the way, let me tell you about Scott Taylor. So Scott is the guy who runs and organizes Soul Matters. Soul Matters is the themed ministry that we subscribe to for our monthly themes. They give us big worship packets, and if those of you that are in small groups, they have packets with all kinds of resources like movies and books to read and quotes kind of around that month's theme. We also get our stuff for the RE curriculums for downstairs is from there, and multiple specialized packets that we get from them as well about things like animal blessing, which is coming up next month, or water communion. It's just a great resource for us. So Scott runs that. So these are his words this morning. We light this chalice. Bernice Johnson-Reagan was an incredible woman. You're giving the thumbs up, Gail. She was the founder of the Freedom Singers in the 60s, and then in the 70s, one of the founders of Sweet Honey in the Rock. If you want music our theme today is prayer meditation, and if you want music that sounds like a prayer, you can just listen to her music, because that's what it is. She passed away last week, so we're honoring her this morning with a couple of songs. So this is Bernice Johnson-Reagan.
Lord, I couldn't hear nobody pray, and I couldn't hear nobody pray. Oh, way down yonder by myself, and I couldn't hear nobody pray, and I couldn't hear nobody pray. Oh, I couldn't hear nobody pray. Hey, way down yonder by myself, and I couldn't hear nobody pray. In the valley, couldn't hear nobody pray. On my knees, couldn't hear nobody pray. With my Jesus, couldn't hear nobody pray. And my Savior, couldn't hear nobody pray. Oh, I couldn't hear nobody pray. Oh, I couldn't hear nobody pray. Oh, way down yonder by myself, and I couldn't hear nobody pray. Chilly water, couldn't hear nobody pray. In the Jordan, couldn't hear nobody pray. Crossing over, couldn't hear nobody pray. Into Canaan, couldn't hear nobody pray. And I couldn't hear nobody pray. Oh, I couldn't hear nobody pray. Hey, way down yonder by myself, and I couldn't hear nobody pray.
Do Unitarian Universalists pray? If we're talking about engaging in an act that looks like a traditional prayer, the answer is yes and no. Some do and some don't. But if we're talking about the purpose of prayer, what it is for, then yes, we do. Though we might not call it prayer. Our weekly service is full of pieces that operate like prayer. The singing of Spirit of Life in our opening words, our prelude, those often serve as a sort of invocation, inviting the Spirit to be recognized among us. They call us to ground ourselves in love and feel the flow of love within, among, and beyond us. Our opening hymn is often serving as a prayer of praise or gratitude, if you will. A lot of the opening hymns are kind of, for the beauty of the earth, that kind of thing, right? Acknowledging the wonder and beauty that surrounds us. And then there are joys and sorrows. In this space, we lift up our concerns and our fears alongside our gratitude and our joys, both simple and grand. This is our pastoral prayer, our community prayer, if you will. A lot of traditional churches, it might just be the minister doing it, but here we operate with shared ministry, so we all do it, but it's in that same spirit of lifting up those things that are in our heart and sharing them because we know that it matters when we share them. So I'm going to open the space for our joys and sorrows, our community offering, if you will, today. If you're here and you have something to share, you can raise your hand and somebody will come along with a microphone for you. If you're on Zoom, you can write it in the chat and we'll share it. And folks on YouTube, you're kind of on an island out there on your own, but you're not on your own because you've got a comment and chat section there so you can share it with each other there. Who has something today?
Good morning, Barb Gillian.
No? I don't know what's going on today. Here, try the other one. I'll just say a quick prayer for the microphones. I think it's working. No?
I was fortunate.
Well, hold on. You're going to have to come up here and use this mic if that's not working. The problem is...
Does this one work?
Oh, there it is. Otherwise, the folks on YouTube and Zoom can't hear.
I'm not sure.
Now we need that one turned on, Richard. There,
That doesn't turn on.
he's good.
I'm not sure that what I have to say is worth all of this. On Friday, I was fortunate to be able to go to the art fair at Minnehaha Park, relocated from Uptown this year because of construction in Uptown. And I just want to say, if you haven't been to Minnehaha Park this year, try to get there. The creek and the falls are so awe-inspiring. More water than we've seen in many years. It was kind of a spiritual experience for me.
I'm Karen Olson, and I have come to the end of a journey that I hope I never have to repeat. I have finally completed getting 3 dental implants. It took almost 2 years and a lot of money, but I now have all the crowns and all the parts and all the pieces, and now I don't have to wear fake teeth in my mouth anymore, and I am so happy it's over.
I don't have a joy or a sorrow, but I am going to fix the feedback on this mic really quick.
That's a joy. We'll file that under. It was a concern, and now it's a joy.
I'm here to help.
I think I'll have to stand on my tippy toes, but you know, whatever. Yeah, that works. So I'm really happy because another season of my favorite show is coming out later this month. So, I mean, that's fun.
What is the show?
It's called Mystery of Arvos. Season 6 is coming out. It's really fun to know that it's, like gonna keep going and it's not over yet.
Where can we watch it?
Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, my name is Yamini. So I think I told a few months ago I was starting a new job. So I'm a computer programmer. Now they're having budget cuts, so they are laying me off end of this month. So July 31st is my last day. I'm looking for new references and new connections, would appreciate that. And then my grandma, who raised me since my mom passed away when I was 11 years old, she fell down twice in sleep. Yeah, so she fell down once in the middle of the sleep and she got up and went back to bed. But I think early in the morning, she fell again. But she didn't hit any of her head. But she has like hairline fractures around her pelvis. And she has to take bed rest and she's in bad pain.
Oh, what's her name, Yoni?
Nageshwari.
Thank you.
What is your programming language?
I do have exposed to so many Java, C#, and my current one is Ruby. They are like a data company. So they are like Ruby on Rails, like traditional old school things.
This probably shouldn't be allowed to come twice, but it is a real joy to see Ed and Kat back today. And I didn't realize it, but Ed has been in the hospital. He'll tell you the details, but he's been through quite an ordeal, and it's great to see him back and healthy. He's got his cap on in the back row. So welcome back. Glad you're better. Today is our tech guru's 77th birthday. Happy birthday, Richard.
Happy birthday, Richard. I think we should sing. Okay, let's go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Richard. Happy birthday to you. Yay. Thank you so much, Richard, for everything. A couple that I see on Zoom, Laura Tellis, her joy is that she went to Valley Fair for the first time yesterday with a friend and her kid, and she said that it was fun to be in an amusement park with kids. So it dried out, right? It must have dried out. It was underwater for some time there. So great for you and great for Valley Fair. Also, Alicia Williams says that she's celebrating her mom, Pat Irvin's 82nd birthday tomorrow. She was an MVUF member way back when Mary Samuels was the minister, and it is a joy to have her to celebrate a birthday for. Candace must be McClanahan, since the other one is here. Candace's joy right now is being right on Lake Superior. Caveat, with concerns, all of the mosquitoes that have hatched from all the rains, making the experience less enjoyable. I have been on the North Shore recently, and you have my compassion for that. Is it? Oh, I don't know if it's raining there or not. It's raining here. Candace, folks online, it's raining here. I don't know if it's raining where you are. Is there anybody else here who has something to share today? No? Also, something that sounds like a prayer is our sung response. Will you please join me in our sung response?
To be together.
focused on prayer and meditation as our theme today. So the whole summer theme is renewal. Last week we talked about Sabbath and retreats. In a couple weeks, I'm going to talk about everyday spiritual practices. Those are those activities that we might engage in that are spiritual practice for us. But today we're talking about prayer and meditation as a practice. And I wanted to offer two options for our centering space. That's going to kind of be an engaged activity. So the first is that you can choose to stay here in sanctuary, and we're going to reimagine a traditional prayer and reframe it in some language that might work for us more deeply. Now, the second option was going to be for those who wanted to go outside and do a little garden meditation. Now, I'm not saying you can't go outside if you have an umbrella and you want to do a little walking meditation in the garden. Feel free. But that might not be something that you want to do. So for those of you that would like to engage in just a quiet, silent meditation, I would say a good space for that would be downstairs where those pews are, where oftentimes the kids are sitting during the social hour. I think that's far enough from us, hopefully, and far enough away from the kids that it would be a little quieter there. Or you could go into one of the classrooms that the kids aren't in. Oh yeah, maybe the high school room. The fireside room might be too close and you might hear us because you can hear us out there. But the room with the couches, if you close the door there. So anybody who wants to engage in a silent meditation could go down there and do that, and we'll send somebody down ringing a bell when it's time to come back. And those of you that want to engage in a reframing of a traditional prayer, you can just hang out here. We're going to give you about 10 minutes too for that, for the silence. So the Lord's Prayer is a traditional prayer, probably one most familiar to more of us than any others in this culture. And it asks for, the prayer itself accepts God as holy, it asks for basic needs, and teaches that God's kingdom would be complete if everyone lived by God's will. Now, that language doesn't really work for me very well, the traditional language of the Lord's Prayer, and I'm guessing that it doesn't work for a lot of you. But the purpose of it is worthy, right? To name what is larger and beyond us, to be grateful and recognize the things that we receive, to recenter our thoughts on living more in harmony with things and working for a world that is more loving and just. Very worthy stuff, right? So what I like to do, I do this with the worship associates sometimes, is to reimagine it. Richard, do you got a slide for that, just for folks who might not be familiar with it? So here's how the prayer is written. Traditionally, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespassed against us. Sometimes trespasses renamed as sin. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Show of hands, how many of you have recited this prayer at some point in your life? Show of hands, how many of you got an icky feeling when I read it? Okay. Fair enough. I want to tell you before we start one little story about the Lord's Prayer, which, I began to think of as kind of this rote recited thing that didn't mean much to me at a certain point in my Lutheran upbringing. But when I was in seminary, we went on a trip to the Philippines, and, not the whole seminary, but I went with some folks on a trip to the Philippines as part of our learning experience, and the United Church of Christ was there alongside of us, some folks with them. And so we spent some time in some churches that were United Church of Christ in the Philippines. And we were at this church in this small village, really small village, and there's no glass or screens on them. Everything's just open and the air comes in even if it's raining like it is. And we're in there, and the service was being led in what language, I'm not sure, because there's a couple thousand languages in the Philippines. So whatever the prevailing language was of whatever island we were on that day. And so we sat there, you know, these guests in the church, looking like odd ducks, and couldn't really know what was going on in most of the service because it was in a different language, except for maybe the hymns, maybe some of them were in English. But they came to this prayer, and even though they recited it in their language, it had the same cadence. And it was something that I could connect to them on, because then we all were like, hey, we know this. You know, I know this, you know this. So we could recite this prayer and be connected with them, even though there was a language barrier. And for that I was grateful, because that was, you know, the sacred moment for me, because I felt like I was not knowing what was going on the rest of the time and I could connect with them. And so one of the reasons I like to reimagine this prayer is because there will be times for many of us in this room where you are somewhere, probably a memorial service for someone that you know who has passed away, or maybe you're visiting your family and you go to church with them, but you might be in a Christian church setting and they will recite this prayer like they do often. And you can sit there and cringe, right? How many of you said you got to cringe? Where we can do this exercise and maybe you can find a way that it can be meaningful for you, and then you can connect with them on that more spiritual level and feel connected to them instead of having a cringe. So I'm not asking you to convert or anything. I'm just asking that we can reimagine this. So what we do is we look at the lines and we think, oh, what's the purpose of that line? And then we're going to rename it. And I'm going to type some of your suggestions in here. So the first one, Our Father, right away off the bat, I'm like, nope. Don't like that father patriarchal language. Who art in heaven? I don't know about that. Hallowed be thy name. Maybe everything's sacred, I don't know, right? Maybe we probably need a microphone for this. Or you know what, I'm just gonna ask you all to stand up if you have a suggestion, and then I'm gonna repeat it so the folks online can hear it. That way we don't take up more time. If you're calling out to that which is beyond you, God, if you name a God, not God, you know, what is it that you hold as sacred? Sometimes we use this language in our own spirit of life, that kind of thing. What's a word or phrase that you might use instead of Our Father who art in heaven? Barb?
Love.
Love? Okay, we'll call it love. What do you got?
Universal energy.
How about we go with universal love? Universal love. Or universal energy of love. We're building here. Now this, in the original prayer, this Father dwells in, oh yeah.
When I'm just mostly using close to the original prayer, I say Our Father, Mother.
Our Father, Mother.
Maybe spiritual leader.
All right, now, okay, so we've got plenty of names for what it is.
Spiritual leader.
Yep, and in here it dwells in heaven. Where do you think it dwells?
Present everywhere.
Present everywhere. Well, now we don't need to name anything else because that's everywhere. All right, we're going to move on to the next phrase. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So what we're talking about here, right? I know that's problematic. Shake it off. Just shake it off. I know, you're like, what is that? Okay, thy kingdom come. So what we're talking about here is the highest ideal, right? The kingdom of God is supposed to be the highest ideal. Now, Jesus said, just so you know, Jesus said that the kingdom of God is not there or there, but that it's here, you know, among us to be revealed. So what is it among us that we are trying to reveal for this to be the highest form of living, if you will?
Our best selves.
Okay. How about lead us to our best selves? Anything else? Mimi?
Love and kindness.
Okay. Give us this day our daily bread. Here we're talking about being grateful for stuff. Anybody got something that resonates with them more? Barb?
May we be grateful for our blessings.
We hold this day in gratitude.
I like that.
That's better.
We'll put them both in. Forgive us our trespasses or sins as we forgive those who trespassed against us.
May we forgive ourselves and each other when we fall short.
For our shortcomings, yes.
For our shortcomings. Good.
Here's a fun one. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Bring us peace in this world.
What?
Keep us safe in this world.
For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. I'm going to offer our new framework. So may we be grounded and centered in love. And reveal it among us. How about that? All right. The non-Lord's Prayer goes something like this today. Our Father, Mother, Spirit Leader, universal energy of love present everywhere. Lead us to be our best selves, living in love and kindness. Let us be grateful for our blessings. We hold this day in gratitude. May we forgive ourselves and others for our shortcomings and do better. Bring us peace in this world. May we be grounded and centered in love and reveal it among and beyond us. Amen.
So be it.
Right? Now, how does that feel? Okay, so your homework is to go home and do this, and then I guarantee when you're with those folks and this comes up, you'll be okay, and you'll feel something really good, right? And you'll let their words be their words and your words be your words, but know that we're all, you know, there's a lot of word about unifying and unity right now going on in the political world, right? Well, we have to do that in our religious world too. How do we see each other? Don't push back against it. Make it your own. And I will say this, if you have a prayer practice or you want a spiritual practice, this prayer, because it has all the elements you need, you can change this up every day based on what you need as a personal prayer. You could make it a morning writing practice, and it might change on what you need that day. You might call upon ancestors. You might call on the spirit of compassion. That's what you really need that day. Or, spirit of healing. Maybe that's what you're really, really needing, right? And comfort. And you can change it just to be what you're needing in that moment, because it's a great framework and it's a great practice. And, puts good vibes out there. Yeah, Barb.
Could you put a copy of this in the Friday email?
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. I'll do that, and I'll even, maybe I'll post it on Facebook too.
Yes.
Yeah, I probably could have done it up there, but that would have been more techy and, anyway.
Can you title it something like group whatever?
Well, instead of calling it Our Father, we maybe call it Our Love Prayer,
I was just thinking if you could put in there something about that it was a group.
Oh, sure, yep, I got it. For those that weren't here that don't know why they're getting this post. Yeah, I got it. So prayer looks like many different things. Our Sunday sharing is another way that looks, right? We want the world to be a better place. Now, here's the thing about UUs. We're not folks to just recite words, right? We like things that have actions to them. So we hope that the world is going to be a more loving and just and equitable place. And one way to do that is supporting our Sunday sharing partners. Our sharing partner this summer is Veep. And invite the ushers to please come forward to take the offering. That was a great exercise. I want to just offer another exercise since folks didn't get to go outside. One meditation that I like to do is like a senses meditation. I talked a little bit about this before, but that's where I just walk around and just let my senses come like popcorn, and I just name them. So if I were outside right now, I might be, I hear rain, I hear grumbling, I hear, cars way in the distance, I hear a bird chirping that I don't know what its name is, but Emily probably does, those kinds of things. I see this, I see that. I smell, I'm sure there's lots of smells going on with the rain right now. What do you feel? I feel warm, but I feel a cool breeze on my face. Just being in tune to your senses is a really great meditation, especially if you try and do a silent meditation and you get a lot of monkey mind. There are other ways to kind of do mindfulness without having to, torture yourself if it feels torturous, and to engage that silence. So I just want to invite people. By the way, if you go downstairs right now, you might smell fish sticks, which will bring back childhood memories to you. Emily's making fish sticks for the kids. Tom and I were going to just open it up and lead a little conversation about prayer and meditation, and open it up with all of you guys. Maybe we can get the microphones to work, because this is kind of crucial. Otherwise, folks online. So I first want to say that I do pray, and sometimes people ask me who I'm praying to, and my answer, I have two answers. The first is, I don't know. And the second is none of your business. So, and I kind of stick with those because I'm not sure who I'm praying to, and that's not really important to me. So I don't want to try and frame that into words that don't make sense. It's really more of a feeling or something for myself and the world. I don't know. And they'll ask me how, like, why do you pray? Well, that's just, I always say the thing with prayer is at least it names what's going on in my heart at the very least, which is good for you, right? The psychologist will all tell you that's good for you. And at the most, it matters in ways that I don't quite understand. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I'm asking for words.
What are my thoughts? That's an interesting question, because for me, prayer is about not thinking. When I think, I get into all these controls. I mean, I was raised Catholic, so there was a lot of prayers. Over time, I've learned I don't diminish those. I don't demean those prayers. They mean a lot to the people who say them. I've seen them comfort my family and other people. It's not my job to shepherd what they do. But for me, all those prayers, a lot, seemed like, eat your broccoli. Did you eat your broccoli today? Did you say your prayers today? Did you brush your teeth today? Did you say your prayers today? That went for a while, but as far as thinking goes, my thinking on it changed when I became a parent. I mean, many of you, if not all of you, or many of you, well, all of you have been babies at some point or another. And many of you know about raising kids and so on. When they came, there was a sense of responsibility. I really had to do something. It was up to me to get stuff done, right? But there was something else. I didn't know exactly what it was. It was when I sat there holding them and looking at their little fingers grasping around my finger and feeling their heartbeat on mine. There was something, I didn't know what it was. I didn't have a word for it, but I would just sit in it. And it was a number of years later that I found out that mysterious thing that I was feeling was just mystery. Mystery in the sense of something bigger than myself. Mystery in the sense of something that calls me out of myself, out of the little world that I create in my head. Something that connects me to that something bigger than myself, and something that I don't have to answer, I don't have to solve, I don't have to fix, I don't have to cure, I don't have to do anything other than love it.
I like that.
You know, so to some extent, prayer is love, and prayer is a loving presence to that. But I thought, okay, if my kids have that, then you've got it, and you've got it. And every single person here is part of that same mystery. So what I work on now is prayer, is not thinking, but just being present. And my faith is that every single living being, every single being for that matter, is part of that. And I am part of that, and there's no distinction between them. So
it's just a way to pause maybe and feel that connection, or that belonging, if you will, to the
Yeah.
mystery, to the thing that holds us all, whatever that is.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure this is my view. This is the way it comes to me. I don't have any way of saying what's true for anybody else. That's why it'd be interesting to hear what you all have to say, because there's so many. It's like looking at you know, those things that hang in the window and refract light.
Yeah.
You know, and they shine light all over the place, and that's exactly kind of what I feel you guys are. So, how do you want to do this?
Yeah, well, we got about 10 minutes maybe. Who else has thoughts on prayer
Question
or
for
meditation?
Tom. Oh, it's working.
Or questions?
Yeah. For most, when I think of other people and I realize that same presence, but I have, you know, right now, there's one individual politically that I just can't get there with. And how do you handle that?
Well, you know,
Or maybe it's not necessary.
yeah.
Anybody have thoughts?
Yeah, anybody want to take that, or you want to? How do you hold a Republican candidate in loving thought is what you're asking, I
Yes,
I do have ideas.
the candidate for president. You don't, huh? But
Okay, so this is how I deal with this issue when I have this with prayer or with thought in general. So if we consider prayer to be like instruments tuning, right? So when we don't agree with somebody, or we don't understand them maybe, or we can't deal with what they represent to us, it just means that we're not in the same tune as them. We're not in the same tune as them. They are maybe a different instrument. They are tuning themselves, their instrument that they are, to something that we maybe don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And we are likewise tuning our instrument that we are as we adjust ourselves and tune in. And sometimes when we're in, say, an orchestra and we're listening to all of that sound, right, it sounds out of alignment at first. And sometimes music competes with itself as well. So we have to make space for that difference and understanding that there are going to be elements that are out of tune. And the goal of all of us, of course, is to eventually come into full attunement with each other. But we can't do that unless we allow people to tune themselves until they come into alignment one way or another.
Yeah. I would say, just on that particular thing, because I know the election is coming and we're all going to get bogged down. And I know it's hard to look for humanity in people that we sometimes refuse to see it in. But I am sure that that assassination attempt last week, he was feeling all of the same feelings that we would have felt given that close a call, right? And that's a way that we can connect with a person.
and his love for his granddaughter.
Yes, I mean, those of us who were, watching for whatever morbidness, thoughts, or, whatever we have that we tuned into the convention last week, there was a moment where he had his granddaughter on his lap, and that really meant something to me to see that. Like, I need to see that, to think of, often with celebrities or political figures or whatever, we put them way out here and forget that they're, a human being that has some of the same feelings that we do, even if our politics are really different. So you can look for those things too, and that can help if you're attempting to pray for everybody in that regard.
There's one little practical thing that I do when it comes up, because it often comes up quick. I immediately think that person was once an infant, somebody held them. And I try to see that, recognize that, and with the case of this particular candidate, also that he was abandoned by his parents at about 10 years old. So seeing that is not demeaning the person, it's bringing back to that essence of who they are. That just works for me, mostly.
Agree with your enemy quickly. If you're around a bunch of liberals, you're a liberal too. If you're around a bunch of Republicans, you're a conservative too. And you can argue the exact same things while being part of the in-group by choosing to commiserate. You can really argue the exact same things, and people look at you the same way as a human being if you get past the identity part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good point.
I think this works. There we go. More on the subject of meditation practice, I'm very much an amateur. I don't do it nearly as much as I wish I could. And some people have gone way deeper and made it, a lifelong, much more involved thing. But in the time that I have spent with meditation, I found it immensely useful. Like my favorite, beyond just the classic of counting breaths, is I think what they call the bubble meditation, where all of, I think what maybe you described as the monkey brain, but just all the little things that are going through your head, you kind of almost, kind of see them as bubbles floating by you, and you don't pay too much attention to them, but you just let them come and go. And what, to me, is most powerful about meditation as a practice is that most of your waking hours, you feel entirely of one piece with the more anxious machinery of your brain, and meditation lets you stand back and kind of view it from a quiet distance and realize that maybe that part of your brain is useful, but it is not all of you. It's something that you can take a break from and view with perspective in a way that you can try to steer your life and your mindset in a more peaceful direction.
Yeah. Kat?
I grew up in my mother was raised Christian Science, so the prayer she taught us at night was, Father, Mother, God, loving me, guard me while I sleep, guide my little feet up to thee, amen. So even though we joined the Methodist Church because the Sunday school bus ran through our neighborhood and the kids could all go to Sunday school and the parents could go back to bed, so I grew up going to that Sunday school and learning all about Father, Son, the male deity. But every night I would say, Father, Mother, God. And so in my mind, it was always female and male, which I was really very grateful for.
Yeah. Kat?
For me, prayer is putting my energy out into the universe. If it's emotions, if it's thoughts, if it's wants, I put it out there. Sometimes if it's a want or prayer for someone else, I want energy from out there to come back to me. So it's just putting my energy, myself out into the universe.
Right. One thing I want to say about vibes and energy, they're not some hokey hippie thing, right? They exist, and you've all felt it before, right? I mean, have you been present when somebody is dying? You can feel what's in the room, right? Or if there's a laughing baby, the way that it lightens everybody's spirit, you can feel that, right? If there's somebody who's angry and yelling and screaming, you walk in and you feel that tension in the room before anything is even said, right? So that energy and those vibes are there, right? And we create them however we create them. And so to make the world, a space where there's less, negative vibes, where we can do that. But sometimes we need the negative vibes because they also get us to do the work that we need to do just as well as the happy vibes and the positive vibes do. So just kind of be aware of what the vibe is and what is it calling on you. Because as much as we put prayers out there, then we're also, when we feel that vibe, that's us receiving whatever else is going on with somebody else. So we're receiving too. All right, Barb, last word, and then we gotta move it on.
My sister, who's 2 years younger than I am, lost her second child. He was in his late 40s. This was 3 years ago in a bizarre hunting accident. And like me, she's a traditional religious skeptic. But the scientific reality that energy can neither be created or destroyed is what was comforting to her. She continues to feel his energy somewhere in the world, and she wears a tiny tattoo of the infinity symbol on her wrist, just as a reminder of that. And I wish I had done that when my husband died. Yeah.
That's an excellent reminder. So energy that flows in the world cannot be created or destroyed, but it can be changed. So with that, I'm going to let Tom talk about our last song.
Much of what I've heard here and what I feel is that love is a big part of prayer. And love in action is justice. So every act of justice is also an act of love and a prayer. In this particular song, The music is written by Bernice Johnson Reagan. The words were by Ella Baker, who was a very well-known, very famous civil rights activist. So as you listen to this song and see it being done, feel the joy that can come in prayer when you really inhabit it.
We believe in freedom cannot rest. We believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom, cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Until the killing of black men, black mothers' sons is as important as the killing of white men, white mother's son. And that which touches me most is that I had a chance to work with people, passing on to others that which was passed on to me. Everybody sing, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. I hate to believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. To me, young people come first. They have the courage where we fail. And if I could but share some light as they carry us through the gale. And the older I get, the better I know that the secret of my going on is when the reins are in the hands of the young who dare to run against the storm. We do believe in freedom, in glory. I hate, we believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Not needing to clutch for power, not needing the light just to shine on me. I need to be just one in a number as we stand against tyranny. Then struggling myself don't need a whole lot. I've come to realize that teaching others to stand up and fight is the only way my struggle survives. We believe in freedom, yeah, Lord, I hate to believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. I'm a woman who speaks steady voice, and I must be heard. At times I can fight very so long, so wild, the no man's word. We believe in freedom, yeah, Lord, I believe in freedom cannot rest until it
Will you please join me in the words for extinguishing our chalice?
Warmth of community,
offer as we close, and Tom's got a song for us, these words from Mary Oliver from a poem called Mysteries, Yes. Truly, we live with mysteries too marvelous to be understood. How grass can be nourishing in the mouths of lambs, how rivers and stones are forever in allegiance with gravity, while we dream of rising. How two hands touch and the bonds will never be broken. How people come from delight or the scars of damage to the comfort of a poem. Let me keep my distance always from those who think they have the answers. Let me keep company always with those who say, look, and laugh in astonishment and bow their heads.
Prayer is often a very somber thing, and it doesn't need to be. As a matter of fact, the other day I was talking with Ed Janes, and we were talking, I got on prayer, and we both thought, don't trust a God who doesn't laugh. A God without a sense of humor has caused a lot of trouble. So this song is, you'll have the words up here in a minute, is a chance, it's a prayer, but it's also just a very simple little thing, and you'll see here what it is. What we're going to do, it's a round. So what we're going to do is go through it. Karen and I will sing it through once, and then you sing along with us 2 times. Then we'll start the round, and I'll give you instructions at that point. Okay? So it goes like this. Laughing, 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 laughing comes the summer over the field. Over the field comes the summer, ha ha ha, laughing over the field. You know what part to emphasize, right? Laughing, 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 laughing comes the summer over the field. Over the field comes the summer, ha ha ha, laughing over the field. One more time. Laughing, 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 laughing comes the summer over the field. Over the field comes the summer, ha ha ha, laughing over the field. So, we'll divide it kind of down the middle that way, in the middle this way. You folks follow Karen, and you folks follow me, and hopefully I won't screw it up. I did when we were practicing, but then you just laugh. Okay, so we'll go through it once, and then we'll start, then they'll follow. We'll go through it as a round twice, and then we'll go through it one time together. Together one time first. So everybody. Laughing, 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 laughing comes the summer over the field. Over the field comes the summer, ha ha ha, laughing over the field. Laughing, 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 laughing comes the summer over the field. Over the field comes the summer, ha ha ha, laughing over the field. Laughing over the field. Laughing comes the summer over the field. Over the field comes the summer, ha ha ha, laughing over the field. Laughing over the field, everybody laughing, 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 laughing comes the summer over the field. Over the field comes the summer, ha ha ha, laughing over the field.